Donald Trump has just pumped the markets in Davos, talking about Greenland. He's not looking at any sort of military action or involvement or any sort of forced occupation. Apparently, a deal has been made. He's also been making positive comments on the stock market. He says that the stock market is going to double, the Dow is going to go up to 50,000, then to 100,000 from there. So we can see that we've had some very positive comments from the US president. Does this mean that the worst is over? Are we going to see a bigger bounce from crypto here? Could we even still see the market rally back to 100K? Or is this just all a temporary short-term relief bounce before we go down to lower levels? I'm going to break it down for you in this video. So as you can see, we've got the Bitcoin chart in front of us. Bitcoin has come down to around sort of 87,500 there or thereabouts. The reason why I quite like this level is if we draw on our Fibonacci from our swing low to swing high, you can see we've come down, we've come to the 50%. We've actually come down and clipped the 618 Fibonacci retracement. So that is a fairly decent zone for us to retrace into. We've also come down to this longer term ascending trend line here. So this is really our bull market trend line from back in October 2023, the low in August 24, and now we're coming into it once again, and we've managed to continue to close above that trend line. And to be honest with you, throughout all of this move here and this consolidation, we haven't actually seen a close below that trend line. So as long as we keep on closing above this trend line, there is some hope for the bulls still left. What we're actually wrestling with now is we are coming to the lower end of this bear flag here. So the bear flag typically is a continuation pattern, and we'd expect to see some consolidation before a breakdown of this pattern. So that is what we're starting to wrestle with. We've also got this 50-day moving average coming in as resistance here as well. So for me, the real line in the sand is going to be getting back above the high of this candle, which was Wednesday's sort of candle here. And then if we can get above there, potentially we can get back above the breakdown candle on Tuesday. So I've got two levels really. I want to see us get above the high of yesterday, and then we will attack the high from Tuesday. If we can recapture this, then potentially we do still have some upside targets in play. But any sort of failure around these levels, and unfortunately I do think that the market will be heading lower. So that is really what I'm looking at in the short term. If we come down to this chart here, we can see, I think I said this yesterday, that I was looking for the market to potentially push back into 92,500, and that would be our 50% level. And potentially from there, we might look to roll over and explore some lower prices. So yeah, obviously a very, very pivotal time right now for the price of Bitcoin. Can we rally up into this level? If we do we get rejected? For full disclosure, I've started to take some shorts in here. So just on the chance that we do actually reject from this 50-day moving average, then I do want some short exposure for the breakdown of these lows, of these trend lines, and potentially running down towards 80,000 again. I do think that is Bitcoin's next move. Its next, shall we say, larger move. So for me, I'm looking at this really from a risk reward perspective, and I say, look, on the upside, potentially I've got 2.5% if I'm in a long trade, but then on the downside from here, I've got a good, in my opinion, about 10%. So you can see it's pretty much a 4-to-1 risk reward on the short trade. The long trade doesn't really make sense. If we do get a rally up into this level, then obviously the return on the short is even better. I think you probably want to stop loss back above around about 94. So I think sort of shorts in this zone make a lot of sense to me. Do we come up here or not? Remains to be seen. I think if we do, the market might try and get up here close to the open before rejecting. So that is short term what my plan is on Bitcoin. obviously with the Trump comments, these aren't really directly related to crypto, but it is a general de-escalation from the tough talk around Greenland, wanting to take Greenland. I believe the latest on this situation is that a deal has been made. Full details will be released shortly. So it feels like it's going to be back to business as usual for the stock market. And we can obviously take a look at the stock market and see the stock market really responding yesterday. If we go down to an hourly chart, we can see a lot of volatility yesterday. So I believe, obviously, in yesterday's session, we had Trump started speaking, the market rallied, the market then rejected. I think this might have come down to the 786 there or thereabouts, just front running that slightly, but into the 618, not getting a close below that. And then the market has been marching higher and the stock market continuing to show some strength. So I still think this is the preferred path. This is definitely on the cards for me, this push higher. Obviously, I was saying I'm a buyer of this dip. I made that really clear over the last few videos that any sort of dip I'll be buying. Even yesterday before this rally, I was talking about looking to buy, obviously the Nasdaq as well. We come down not quite to that 100-day moving average, but we've just front run it slightly. Obviously, the Nasdaq also seen similar volatility yesterday when President Trump was speaking. And importantly, we are now back above this trend line that we had in here. So a bit of a sort of breakout, and then the false breakout. Then we've got the false breakout where obviously it looks like it's rejecting, it's going to break down, and now we're popping back above. So in general, just very volatile conditions right now in the markets. But I do think from here, the main level for the Nasdaq to get above is going to be this 25800 level. A daily close above there, we should see continuation to all-time highs and beyond. Obviously on the S&P, similar, we've been looking to get sort of back above this level, this really where we're at right now, but around about this 6922 level. Obviously currently 6918, and I think we can go and make new all-time highs in Q1 before some sort of deeper pullback. So really no change to my analysis on the stock markets. I will come up with a stock market video later on today with some stock picks that I'm looking at. So obviously I made one last week where I talked about 5 stocks I'd be looking to buy. Some of those stocks mentioned did come off into those buy targets. So I'll be giving an update on some of those stocks and probably adding a couple more in there based on some of the comments Trump made yesterday. I think a few industries will be impacted very positively from those announcements. Dollar still consolidating, chopping around, no major moves either way. We've got gold still remaining strong, silver still looking very strong. This is just all bullish consolidation before what looks like will probably be an acceleration to the upside. We've got the sort of 10-year yield starting to reject that longer term trend line. So obviously I've been talking a lot about the fact that we should see some resistance at this trend line. Obviously we do have higher targets if this does want to break out, but I personally think this will start to come off. And as we get closer to the change of the Fed chair, that I believe is happening around about May time, or should be happening around about May time. Obviously, we've still got a few months to go, so we could get more of a pop in the interim. But I think the market will start to lean in on that, lean in on the fact we should get a more dovish Fed over the next couple of months, and we should see yields start to fall and bonds actually start to rally. And then if we just go back to our cryptos, so obviously Bitcoin currently wrestling with around 90,000. If we look at Ethereum, we can see Ethereum also struggling around the 3,000 mark. So obviously some big round numbers that these cryptos are trying to get above. I do personally think we might pop above these round numbers. We might see Bitcoin trade up to, like I say, sort of 91, 92 before running into some resistance around 92 and a half. Ethereum, maybe it pops back up to around about 3,100 before finding a bit of resistance. Solana as well, struggling around 130. So do we get above? probably if the stock market is bullish at the open and decides to rally, we might do, but I'm still very reluctant to enter into longs. I still think this bounce is probably done based on the rejection we got here and how low we've come. And yeah, I can't really see anything turning this around unless we start to really get some big closes. Like I say, that for me will start with Bitcoin getting above this 92,500 and getting back above 94,000, and then potentially we will still have those targets in play around about 100,000. Other cryptos, just quickly to mention, is XRP. So I'm still in my short position. I have closed a lot of my short position. I mentioned taking a short position off this trend line here. So this was back on the 6th of January when we ran into this trend line. I'm still thinking this has some room to fall to the downside over the next few weeks and months. So yes, I quite like that as a short at the moment. And to be honest, there's not too much I'm looking to do on the crypto front at the moment. Just really waiting, watching, waiting to see what Bitcoin does here, waiting to see if we get a bit more of a push higher to short into. Alternative, if we reject from here, it'll just be really a case of being patient, holding the shorts that I've currently got and waiting for prices to come down to some of the lower targets where we're likely to see a larger bounce from. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this content and video, please do smash the like, hit subscribe if not done so already. Like I say, stock market update coming on later today. And yeah, have a fantastic day whenever you are. I will talk to you all on the next one. GM, GM, GM.